this is my stepping stone into being strong and to understanding that food is fuel and to knowing that like my macros are my macros and I am going to eat them because they make me feel good, they make me look good. And I think you really helped me mentally in that aspect.
Hey guys, this is Adam. I'm here with Anna, and today we're going to talk about the importance of going to shows. This has been a really cool year. Anna's been helping me pose girls. And what's been so awesome about that is I've not even asked her to do this, but I want to personally thank you. She's taken the time to go to some of the client shows, and it's been cool because there's been two of them you've been at that I've actually not been able to go to
Mhm.
because I was somewhere else. So it's great because she's able to give my clients support. So first of all, thank you for doing that. But second of all, why do you think it's important to go to shows?
So, I mean, obviously, I absolutely love it. So, thank you for thanking me. But it's just my passion, and like I love being there alongside of you and learning through you, and also being a support system to everybody is like one of my favorite things. So, I appreciate you for allowing me to do that. And secondly, like why I think it's so important is especially like in your first season, like when even just a regional show, it's very important to show up and understand like what goes on because it's you can practice so much and you can practice comparisons and like cueing yourself, but seeing two individuals on stage or six individuals on stage, first call outs, second call outs, third calls, like seeing that happen in action is not the same thing as like cueing it in your own bedroom or in a posing room. And so I personally would go with you or Fran or like a mentor to my first shows before I even competed initially to tell me like the do's and the don'ts or like look out for this or when you are standing on stage, even if you're off stage, like the judges are still judging you, so make sure you pose like I would have never understood those things if I didn't show up and ask those questions and then you guys respond to me with like your correct answers. So understanding the entire like atmosphere and the environment is really important, and I think it like sets the tone. And so I'm a very visual person, so like many do, I think like visualization is like a huge asset in like when competing or sports or anything in general. So like something I like to do is like envision the stage I'm going to be on. So if I haven't visited that stage, it's very hard for me to do.
Mhm.
So I like to envision the stage, the venue, and I think that calms me a little bit. And I understand that I'm going to do what I need to do up there. Um, and it just sets the tone. And after your first season, I would say like national shows are huge to go to as well. And that was kind of a shock for me last season because I went to a few and they were huge. And
Mhm.
I think I was not expecting that. And if I didn't go and my first time going to a national stage was when I hopped on stage, I would have been horrified. So I think like being in your corner and like standing there and understanding like how it works at a national stage versus a regional stage helps me visualize everything as well. And then of course like meeting your teammates, and if not your teammates, everyone in the industry is so supportive. So like bikini competitors or anybody in your class, like on like having a support system in your own state and like having people who can relate to you. I found that so amazing. And I feel like I have a huge support system outside of Michigan and all over the states because I've met people through shows. And I think that is why this industry is so powerful, because you get your great people. And of course, there's always someone you're not going to love everywhere you go, but you have like such an amazing support system and people you mesh with, like just by meeting them at shows. And then like I actually have a friend who's going to a wedding of somebody she's never met before outside of a show, and she's a bridesmaid and they just talk through Instagram. And I think that is so cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah. And people are end up being super close from that.
I think one thing that for me is important to go to shows still, you start thinking of some of the physiological components that, if you're just peeking through text that you don't think about. the other day when I was in Florida, Florida's just always blasting their AC because it's Florida.
Yeah,
So a lot of the venues are really cold. And,
yeah,
a lot of my clients, I started seeing a lack of vascularity. But from being there, I realized, oh, my clients don't need more water. They are just freezing
mhm,
cold and have no
yeah,
vascularity. So it kind of puts things like that into perspective. The other thing I do think, in a in a sport that's forever evolving, bikini has never necessarily always had exactly a set standard since I've coached. When you look at India Palmello, back in the
mhm,
day, she's gone through like three different variations of what is NPC bikini.
yeah,
She was around back when you just buy a bathing suit off Target and you wore the belly button ring and went out there, the real long
for
gangly ones. It was pretty horrifying now looking back on it, like
yeah,
how we styled our bikini girls, but that's how we did it. And that was back in the Arnold's, like back in 2010. And then there was another shift in the industry. You started wearing, bedazzled bikinis, and now most girls do a side pose,
right.
front pose. So that's been a new evolution in the last probably 5 to 4 years now.
Absolutely. And you,
Um,
yeah, another thing showing up shows you like how everyone poses in the different types of poses.
Yep, different types of posing. And then I'll also say, going to a show and seeing the judging go down versus just going through the pictures on NPC
Absolutely.
News is a big difference. So I do think, especially for bikini, and I'll dare to even say wellness because it's a little
Mhm.
subjective as well. Really important to go to those shows and see them go down.
100%. And I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that like you show up to every show you can.
I
And
do.
I I know that because you're my first coach and I know nothing else. But some of my posing clients who aren't on this team very much make it known to me. They're like, wow, that's amazing he goes to your shows. Like my coach would never, like my coach doesn't do that, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, he's gone to like all my shows,
Yeah.
and he tries to do every single one of them, and not just mine, but everybody else's too. Like if you have a free weekend, you're going, and I think that's amazing, and it does not go unnoticed, especially in this industry. So I wanted to thank you for that too, and I'm sure a lot of our teammates think the same.
Well, thank you. It's always good to go and actually see things happen. The show that we got to go to together, it was super cool because
Yeah.
I had never met, Angela had been with me probably the longest out of anyone backstage. Never had met her. And then I got to meet Molly,
Yeah.
Gina, and actually Alex, who competed, Amanda, who competed, she's been with me probably the longest out of anyone, but I've
Really.
gone to plenty of her shows. But
Yeah.
that was cool to just reconnect in person with her. So that
That's
was a
amazing.
really fun show because that was the
And
first one where you had posing clients, and
yeah, I think
yeah,
that was
that
amazing.
was definitely fun.
Mhm. So that's what I think, like, just aside from, like, the aspect of understanding the sport, understanding, like, the support system, the venue, like, it is just so it's a good time. Shows are a good time. They're fun weekends. Yes, they're exhausting, but, like, they're always worth your time, and at the end of the day, you leave feeling fulfilled, motivated, driven. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you guys on the next episode.